Going to be editing photos. Not that this is the most interesting thing in the world, but I figured that I might as well just give this a go. I'm going to be editing photos from a trip I took back in 2003 in the SEPTA area. Just need to pull this stuff out. There it goes. This is one of the midwinter trips that I usually run. I've been running for the last 17 years, and let me just try to get to where's the start place. Got to get through the Cruft. This is when I was down in Baltimore for grad school, so it usually starts with a couple of mark shots coming up to the Philly area, and then it'll get onto the actual midwinter trip. This one I think involves the Warminster line and other fun things that aren't there anymore. So sorry if I don't, I figured since I'm on the super high speed FiOS, I might as well actually try recording this stuff. So excuse me if I'm not super good at like streaming, because I just started getting into it, and I doubt that super many people are involved. So mainly what I'm doing is anybody even? Let me gotta check who's listening. Okay, so the way this works is I'm sort of how a lot of people will do like the Lightroom thing and a lot of stuff that's designed to I don't even know. It's a lot of the ways that manage the photos are designed to, we keep copies of all the stuff that you make, and you can tag them, and you can star them, and you can do all this stuff. And what I've noticed is that all these tagging and starring and filtering systems just eat up a ton of time, and I have thousands of photos, and I just don't have time for that. So what I do is I do a once through where I process the photos to what I have on my current standards on a 1280 by 960 resolution, or if it's a DSLR with a 4x6, I'm going to go with a 1500 by 1000 resolution. And I make exceptions for panoramas and other stuff. And I've sort of standardized on that. It's still pretty worthwhile, and I also try to have a size target of about 600K. This keeps everything nice and accessible for everyone. It won't kill people's data. It won't stress out people's screens. And then what else I do is I usually put any of the information that I need on the file name. And anything else besides that, if I really have a problem finding something, I have places set up where I archive them in albums by trip, and which gives me a date. So for a combination of file name and the date, I can almost find everything I need, and I don't have to bother tagging, which just is a quagmire. That's my process. I generally do most stuff with keyboard commands. Oh, so anyway, before I do that, because these are classic photos, and I did these back in 2003, but I was using 2003 size and internet. It was these photos are for a 2003 internet. So where I will try to respect the original file name choices, just so I don't have multiple copies floating around, and I can overwrite them on my web space, and the links will still work. So back in the day, like I would just hit the it's an Amtrak and the number. I'd do railroad plus _ number. But then I was like, well, I started running into trains in multiple locations. So it's like, okay, I really need to add a location here. So, but because these are sort of classic photos, that's what I do for back in the day stuff. Towers, where is this damn thing? Okay, here we go. What did I even do there? Did I do anything? What the? I got talking and I didn't know what I was doing. Whatever. So, generally what I do in my processing is do a crop, do a horizon level, do a crop, adjust color correct. That's pretty much it. And then it's sort of research to get the file name right. I mean, you got to make sure where things are and what they are of, and that's not always the most straightforward thing to figure out. Now this one I'm gonna put the locomotive a little off center here because there's most of what's interesting is in the upper half of the photo, and I'm not here to make every photo. These are here for people's reference. They're not here to win art competitions. So I'm always going to, if I have to make a choice, I'm going to go for the information, informational content over the aesthetic content. So here we have an old Mark GP39H-2. While the what seem to be newer locomotives are gone, these are still in service. They've kept them on. They think there were MK rebuilds in the 90s. So every time I do a thing, it's been arranged by date here. There we are. I always just make sure that the size is where I want it to be. Now these photos were on my old 3 megapixel camera. They start out at around 600K, so I really don't gain a lot by chomping them down. You can see these are a little bit blue, so it is a winter photo. But I'm going to color correct that. I'm going to drop the blue down a little bit, pop the color, and I'm just going to keep this one as is. I'm not going to really do a crop on it. And I can always go back, and like I said, I found out what the original names were, so I'm just going to overwrite the original file. I mean, these aren't the original. I mean, everything's saved up, everything's backupped. Just in this this folder, I have some of the quote-unquote original files, so I can compare, so I can at least grab the other names, overwrite them. Here's another one that I composed well in the beginning. Doesn't really need anything done to it, so I'm just going to do, resize down to 1280. Now these are the Mark MP40 WH-2s, which look a lot newer and nicer than the old Jeeps there, and they have more power too. They're a GP40 base, but these were dumped in favor of the MP36s, which I like. Although I do like the color scheme on these. So back in the day, again, I was much more apt to dump photos, what I would consider duplicates. It looks like I found one here. So back in the day when I had a lot less storage space, especially online, I would often be much more picky about, I would just dump photos. So here I found, I think I made a choice between one of these two back in the day, and today I'm just going to take them both. There's no problem with that. Now this is a little bit darker, so I'm just going to pop that up. For these older photos, I really don't need to do as much as the newer ones. I have a lot less to work with, so I can't really go without the resolution that the newer photo cameras have. You can't really go in and zap them so well. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm sorted the right way. 52. So I can just call this whatever, since this isn't a replacement photo. I'll put the tag in there. There's that one. Yeah, you can see the original resolution on these are just awful. 165K. It looks like crap. I probably compressed the hell out of it too. I don't know what I was doing, but again, you gotta put yourself back in 2003, where the size of my web space was probably 20 megabytes. And I had to rotate photos in and out, and people would complain if that their 56K dial-up wasn't able to handle the stuff. So 70 plus 63. There's the overwrite it, check it out, and we're good to go. So a lot of people use stuff with sliders, but I've sort of found that my workflow works a little bit faster. Resize with the key commands. So there you go, 63, 52, and 1, 2, 35. So that's generally what I do, because most of the edits I'm making rely on what I would call sort of atomic Like, instead of trying to take a slider and find the exact right thing that looks really well, I'm going to go and I'm just going to make incremental changes until it hits the right point. So I'm going to be like, increase brightness by like 5%. Not bright enough, 5% again. Not bright enough, 5%. You know, I'll just keep doing it until I get it to the right point. And I can hit undo or go forward, go back, go forward, go back. And it just quite a bit faster than it used to be. So, fun fact. No, I don't see this one here. So I'm just going to pull that out. Either this photo, is there another one? Let's see. Yes, maybe. One of these two photos, either this one or this one, I got contacted by an ad agency that wanted to use it for something they were doing. I think it was some sort of promotional thing. I'm not promotional, it was something involving, what were they doing? It was like they wanted to indicate that they were near Penn Station or were accessible for mass transit. So, what the, on date, what? The dates are all screwed up here. Something's really weird. What? Huh. Man, dates all screwed up here for some weird reason. But anyway, they you know, I don't charge, you know, it's the internet. You look for exposure. And I didn't try to get people to charge them, but it's nice. As usual, I have a little bit of non-railroad content mixed in. I took this picture because this squirrel was just comically overweight. You can see him there. He goes. It's too bad. So for aspect ratios, I try to keep it to 3 by. You know, I try to keep it to original aspect ratio, even though I'm cropping. That just keeps things a little more even when I am trying to do a bunch of resize operations. Now I'm a little bit more flexible for vertical photos, but I don't even know what the hell I called this. It was just like fat squirrel or something. Yeah, I don't have a lot of, like I said, I don't have a lot of room to do a lot of cropping on these, just because. Get him. There it goes. Now I go look over at YouTube, see who's actually watching. All right, that's the first set done. Now, I do these in sets of 12. That's part of it's based on my other monitor. So after I go through and where'd that start? So I only did 11 this time, but I usually do them in sets of 12. Down to 11. And yes, like I said, I keep everything backed up, but I'm just doing it from the oh, wait a minute. Uh-oh. So one problem that vexes me is that yep. Oh, man, that's the pain. Yeah, one major issue that I get that I need to watch out for is that every so often back in the day when I would auto-rotate the photos, it would change the timestamp. And I wasn't aware of that at the time until, like, it became something I need to watch out for. So it's like something from the past coming forward to zap me. But anyway, what I do is I just go through, do the delete, grab the next batch of 12, and set this back to date. And I'm onto it. So this, like I said, this was on SEPTA Mid-Winter Trip 3, and that trip's innovation involved taking a Route 36 down to the Eastwick Loop. The popularity of this line is because, gasp, it runs on its own right-of-way down Island Ave. So, you know, trolley people love their own, you know, love their stuff. So I always try to make a fun trip. One of the things I do too aesthetically is I always try to put like one of the corners where a rail is, and if it doesn't quite work, you know, I'll try to find at least something to give it a little bit of a zip near the end of the corner, and making sure that I don't cut off any of the right of way down there. So everything else, all this stuff here, this ballast, this hill, this sky, totally immaterial for what you need the photo for. Now, I usually try to make, I don't like it when photos are cold, but winter, if it's obviously winter, I don't usually try to, it's got an excuse to be blue. One major issue with SEPTA is that they have a little bit of overlap with their numbering schemes, especially with your 90. Their K cars are in the 9000 series, and also their Reading Silverliner 2s are 9001 through 9017, so, or 18. And that can cause some collisions. So I had to I've had to put the SEPTA stuff in different places. Why is that doing that? There it is. So in this trip, we actually walked from the Island Ave Loop to the Eastwick station on the R1, which I think it just recently opened. Maybe, I don't know. Kind of recently opened. So as we were heading out, got this nice little photo of the K car here on the loop. In my newer photos, I tend to, you know, you can never go wrong with a little bit of sharpening. Unfortunately, the resolution on these older photos are so low that I'm just gonna rename this one. That you quickly exceed the, you know, it makes it start looking grainy and weird. So I don't tend to double sharpen them. I usually sharpen once before the, depending on size, I'll sharpen before the resize and after the resize. If there's no need, I'll just, if there's ever a space issue, I'll just do one or the other. You can see I was shooting between the bars of a chain link fence. So I'll just sort of crop that out if I can. So here's a case where the other photo, the subject was clearly the K car in 9084. Here the subject is the Eastwick Loop that happens to have SEPTA K car 9084. So in accordance to my new naming conventions, I'm going to go and I'm going to say, like, this is going to be a SEPTA, it's going to be on Route 36. Eastwick loop, and then you add a plus for 9084. No, so I have a whole system. The first thing is the owner. It's railroad. After the railroad, you do an underscore. Then it's usually if it's the subject is an engine, you just go right with a number. If it's infrastructural, you give it, or locational. It's like the station or an interlocking or whatever. And then if there's multiple things, that's delimited by a plus. Descriptors are delimited by additional dashes. Oh, see, now this one is kind of a duplicate of the other one. Is that a different car? Or what? No, that's still 9084. Did I screw something up? So I'm just trying to figure out like what was I doing back in the day. I don't think I was doing anything back in the day. This is the same photo, so don't need that. It's a Dollar Tree. There we go. So sometimes it looks like, oh, can I turn this horizontal photo into a vertical photo? No. So you can see how close the Eastwick loop is to the R1. That's the R1 catenary right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture that there, and I'm going to bring in this side, get it down to a 4:3, crop it, and as much as I'd love to get some more detail on the car, I'm just going to leave it as is because it's sort of nice composed with the catenary. So I'm just going to hit that as a So here we are at the R1 Eastwick station. This was an infill station because originally the R1 just went to the airport, and they eventually put in this infill station. I forget when they. I mean, I can go on Wikipedia and figure out when they opened it, but I mean anyone can. And here we have. Oh, you can't really see it. So this is an original Reading car, and it's blocked by the fence. You can kind of see it. It has a cow catcher, because that's what the Reading liked. And they ordered the cars, and they got to tell, even though SEPTA paid for them, Reading still ran them, and Reading got to determine what sort of features that it would have. So in this case, they wanted cow catchers, because all their other stuff had cow catchers. And they got cow catchers. So the cow catchers were removed about 2005, maybe to 2007. This photo's a little backlit. You can see the R1. It's just straight as an arrow, 80 miles an hour, and it has constant tension catenary. Let's reduce your thing there. So you don't need to do a lot with these. But I used to use the Olympus cameras. My newer cameras, I have two. I have a Canon DSLR that I use, and I have a mid-range Canon IS-30. That's really nice. It's kind of a point and shoot, but it's got a giant super zoom lens, and it's very compact, and I can get that all over the place. But the major problem is that Canons, you almost uniformly have major color correction issues. They shoot very, very cold on the automatic white balance, and like, oh, you don't have to use the auto white balance. It's like I'm not setting up a thing with models here. I can't throw up a white balance card every time I'm trying to do something. So I just gotta fix it in post, as they say. These backlit ones aren't so great, but it was what I had to do back in the day. Oh, Arsenal Tower. I gotta figure out which Arsenal Tower photo shot this is. Towers. So like I said, I'm just trying to keep the naming consistent. Okay. Huh. Oh, that's right. Date. Alright, well that's fixing itself. I'm going to go check out what's in the old chat here. Let's see if my thing's sorted out here. So, like I said, I'm going to just try to get the... Where am I? What am I doing? I'm getting names for the files from 2003. See, I can open up one of these and just check the date on it. No, this is pretty close to it. There it is. There it is. Yep, here we all are. Fern Rock, Overbrook, boom. So I'm going to go and take these existing file names and I'm going to go put them in this Midwinter Trip 3 folder. So now the file names are available to me. Again, this is just something that I need to do. You can just see how awful that my job was in that my edit job was back when I was in college. Oh God, I was just awful. So here, I mean, I got a little bit of a conundrum here. Like, what do? I've got this great scene with Arsenal here, and I got the right over there. That's the Conrail part of Arsenal. With the Conrail style signals. That one, I think one of those was removed and replaced with a dwarf. I think that one there. So the question is like if I keep it this way, it's going to sort of be a low res shot with a lot of junk in the middle. I'm very tempted just to go like right over there and then just zip this down to a 3x4. Put it on the rail. I think I'm gonna have to say goodbye to that other stuff because I think this is just a nicer. It's a more interesting view from the rail point of view. So see, I'm only doing with that amount of crop, doing an 1280 by 960 is already an 84% thing. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to just increase the contrast. It's a little bit hazy there. So resize. I'm going to do a sharpen, and then what's the name? I think it's that one. And here's the signal bridge. It used to be part of Arsenal. Now it's automatic. It's SEPTA still has it on their Arsenal interlocking. But this used to be all Amtrak. I mean, PR's Arsenal interlocking, and then Amtrak just turned it into an auto. And SEPTA, the train is within SEPTA's Arsenal interlocking right now. But it's got exit signals for ABS exit signals, and the reverse ones are the southbound home signals for SEPTA Arsenal interlocking. So this one takes up the whole thing, so I'm just going to do with this, hit it with a bit of the saturation, and just pop in there with the rename. Oh, gotta find these again. Now, normally I would just go online. I used to have my web space had all this stuff sorted out by whatever, but that's temporarily offline due to a server fire. It'll hopefully be back at some point, but I'm currently without some of my resources. This is CP Walnut. Actually, this is the this is southbound. It's into CP Walnut, but it's looking into Broad. Oh wait, no. It's looking into CP Walnut there. So hit the thing, and resize. I have to go on a fetch quest for the names again. Oh boy. I think I have too many signaling photos. Yeesh. I actually need to get out back to CP Walnut before SEPTA screws it up in some sort of re-signaling plan. And Walnut's close enough to 30th Street Station. That's something within walking distance. I should do that. Okay. Fox Chase. What on earth? Oh, I see the difference there. Oh, come on. Where is that? Okay. Oh, good. So I'm probably just gonna do it. So one of the things that I won't do is if it really matters of for the signaling stuff, since I have such a different nomenclature, I will often just rename those because of just what I didn't know what I was doing back then. So I'm just gonna go with taking this up of what it was. I can look at that. We got save as SEPTA Walnut eastbound. It's probably northbound gantry. It's close plus track to clear. Track to clear. Done. Sometimes it's just hard. There's when you're doing leveling in rail stuff, sometimes it's hard to figure out what exactly is up and down. The other question is, should I try to crop this? No. I'm not going to bother. So if I don't know the switch numbers, I just say if it's facing or trailing point. And it's the northbound direction. Good enough. Oh, did the second batch of 12. Nice. So usually what I do is I do 40. I do these in batches of 48, 4x12. Always want to make sure I'm not deleting anything. 12 just happens to be what 2 rows fit in my non 16 by 9 monitor that I use in my other computer. So it just sort of became the quote unquote, I guess, tradition. I don't know, standard. SEPTA main line on the Reading side used to be really fun, but with their resignaling and the cab signal only project, it's just trash. It's barely worth riding. Although the Silverliner 5s are nice. See, back in the day, same 2003, the memory cards I had for my camera were 64 megabytes in size, and I was limited to 96 photos per memory card application. And this whole batch of stuff that was on this one card comes out to about 100 photos. So I probably put it across 2 cards. But it made you, just like in the days of film, it made you much more reluctant to just blast away and shoot whatever was going on. I'm gonna probably violate my rule on aspect ratios just because the way this sort of portal is shaken out. It's 269. What would I have called this? I don't know. I always have it. That's SEPTA Huntington interlocking, but I don't know if it's Huntington or Huntingdon or whatever. So I gotta go look that up too. Come on. Oh, it's just Hunt. Yay. Northbound with who is that? 289? It's got to be an 8. So he is coming out of the yard right there, and he's across a double slip. So that's pretty nifty that I got that photo this day. Ooh, the blue liner. I wonder if I have a thing of that. Yeah, this is one of those like quick photos, but yay, it's at a 45-degree angle, and I need to go and try to go. Ruins the photo. God. You know, sometimes you just can't level them, and you know, there's not much you can really do. Just give up. Did I even give that thing? I had to. Yeah, see, back in the day, I called it Huntington interlocking, and it's just Hunt. Or is it? Now I don't know. Now I don't. Let's see what's going on in the thing. Alright, here's good old Wayne Junction. At the time, when I took this back in 2003, this was actually an active tower. The Reading, it's interesting with the Reading Railroad. Both the Reading and the PR, although the Reading to a bit more of a degree, had money. So Reading was a very early adopter of CTC and other labor-saving devices. And they controlled almost all of their commuter territory from two. This tower was 2 towers in one. You had the wind operator and the Wayne operator. And actually, each tower in this tower had about 2 or 3 people working the panels. They were GRS CTC panels installed back in the. I can't get an install date. It's got to be the 60s. I don't think it was 50s tech. And that kept on working up through when SEPTA really wanted to, got an itch to computer control everything. I don't agree with that name, but I'm going to respect it. So yeah, in that there were upwards of 5 or 6 people all doing the SEPTA thing there, and it was nice. At the time, I had also just gotten my radio scanner, and I don't know what SEPTA was doing. I could hear one end of the conversation, because whatever they were broadcasting on some ridiculous amount of power. But I could always hear SEPTA Wind and SEPTA Wayne talking to the trains all over, and then at some point they shut up because the tower was closed, and they just moved it all to whatever. But yeah, the Reading did a lot of infrastructure with their CTC, but they didn't go bi-directional. It was just a lot of it was just remote the interlockings and just try to close the towers, because the Reading had money, but they started running into cash flow problems in the 50s and 60s because their businesses were drying up. Because they were primarily based on anthracite coal. So at the time, they were incredibly profitable. They had that's why them and the PRR and a lot of these eastern industrial roads could invest in grade separation, signaling, interlockings, man towers, electrification. Such an incredible amount of money. And then it just with the decline of a coal-based economy, it just went south in a hurry. So I'm going to include this little cabinet there just to widen it out. No, maybe not. Oh, I don't like going right up on the nose. Get the aspect ratio I want. Crop it up and get rid of the red tint. So this is through a window. So we got to get rid of the tint there. I'm going to brighten it a little bit, which is a little bit better. No, I'm going to do a full brighten, and I'm going to zap down more of that red. A lot of times, no, I can do the color adjustments, but sometimes it just needs a little bit of a tweak. Now, before I do the resize, I'm going to see if I can see what number he is. He is 392. So that would be a PRR car, and PRR cars at this time, the PRR cars were always fitted with those pilots, and like I said, with the cow catchers, now the Reading cars have those same pilots. But it was still a hoot that they got ordered with cow catchers. Ooh, I love this signal. Oh, that's the fun thing that I know now. I got the interlocking charts for this interlocking. I know that I can actually properly label the signal. That's a lot of the things. If I don't necessarily mind relabeling the signal photos, because I know so much. I know so much more than I did back in the day. This is a great signal, and this is from 2003, and SEPTA had already hit it up with LEDs. And the only reason it's not still there today is because there was a sighting problem when they redid the station. They had to replace it with a dwarf. But this is just you got USNS model TR target signals, very rare. I mean, those are rare today. Those are the ones with the little 3 backing things. You've got the lozenge signal for the restricting, and it was all LED'd, and like that wasn't going anywhere. And it just happened that there was a sightline conflict, and they had to move, and they had to pull it. And that was a shame. That was a damn shame. So there's a tower. Here's the signaling. Let me see if I have. I know I have that labeled. I just have to find it. I guess it would be under Wayne. There it is. So there's the new dwarf. Dwarf. Boo. There's the thing that they built. Boo. You suck. Yeah, at least the H5s are still there. But I know the name of that thing, and I properly labeled it, and it is the 6L signal at Wayne. Wayne 6L, clear. Boom. All these. Oh, I hope I'm not good. I go for a JPEG quality rating, at least as a Paint Shop Pro puts it, of 10, with 0 being the best. Oh, here's a scene you don't see anymore at CP Newtown Junction. Again, you had very old school. So the Reading Railroad was very much, I don't know. They were USNS in a lot of ways. They liked using the Oh, that was pretty much spot on. They really liked the TR like circular tri-lights. And that's really what I want to feature in this photo. That signal bridge right there is just. So first you got the original signals right here. This is when SEPTA still controlled the Conrail Trenton line, or now it's CSX, and that drove CSX crazy. But the reason you had this commingling of signals because Conrail operated this up and through 1983. This is actually known as their Philadelphia commuter region. And they ran the towers, and they'd fully integrated. The Reading was still fully integrated with freight train operations. So the Trenton line, there was no reason that it was a problem to intermix the commuter services with your Conrail freight services until 1983, when they had to separate them. Then you had this weird system that SEPTA from here all the way through pretty much to West Trenton controlled Conrail trackage, and that, I mean, later CSX, and that just became an increasingly fraught point of contention, that led to the separation both here and at West Trenton, and it's a super shame. But even before SEPTA, when they did the resignaling, this is just so batty. You got signal there for the Trenton line. You got a three head here for the Fox Chase Junction. You got 2 exit signals that are automatics. You can see that the heads are offset for the 261 on between here and Wayne. Then you got this little like hacked in 3-head made out of SA searchlights for reverse direction on the 261. I mean, this is just bonkers. Oh, yeah, I should probably go look up what all these signal things are. Yay! Reading Division. So originally this is part of Conrail's Reading Division, which basically means anything X Reading. This would have been Newtown Junction. This is fortunately laid out alphabetical order. Roll down the Newtown Junction. Sorry there. What the fuck? My PDF's freezing up. Oh man, it was 4 tracks. No, that's a 16R clear at Newtown Junction. Well, there's a tower, so I'm not sure I'll SEPTA it. I'm just going to call it... what did I do? I gotta go back in the day again. Sometimes I will split up. If there's a tower there, I keep the tower name, but I'm just going to keep the tower. So it's Newtown Junction, 16L, clear. Wait, no. NB entry plus 16L, clear with an L. That's how it works. Half the time, most of the effort into this comes with just researching what to call the photo. Like I said, I don't like dealing around with tags, so I try to capture all the relevant information in the photo. It's in the file name. There's the difference between descriptional information and like identificational information, and a signal name and a number is very much identificational, but it still requires a good deal of research. So that's the previous name for this thing. That's a beautiful example of a Reading tower with the brick base. Had an all-windowed top, marvelous condition. Even got the Conrail sign on it. Not open at this point. It was remote, but it's still a signal maintainer hangout. Check the size. Next. Ooh, Tabor Junction. Badunk. Oh, and I can still go and find what that name of the signal is. It's like a freaking Rosetta Stone. It's the... be the 4R. This has definitely been rebuilt, but I'm going to keep it with... they would have kept the name, a lot of the names the same, even after the junction part of Tabor Junction was removed. So I'm sure on the interlocking board that was still a 4R signal. Even though I think this was redone during rail works. Okay. Squeeze it in a bit. I might just keep this at a 1-to-1 aspect ratio. That's cheating, but whatever. I much prefer having the signal names as opposed to having to describe them in the name of the title. I can go to the interlocking chart and get the what actual switch that is. That is the 573 switch. A5. What do I want to do with this? I don't know what I want to do with this. I want to do this. I want to do this. Yeah, but I got that little thingy in there too. So yeah, sometimes you just don't have good angles for trying to do a straighten. That's good enough. Ooh, pretty much right on the mark for 1280 by whatever. That doesn't happen that often. Taper junction 3 switch A5 plus CP. So sometimes when I'm doing file names, I've got to try to future-proof myself if I ever go back to a location. But because all this stuff's been resignaled, I don't have to worry about that. So I can just call it something convenient. Call it a day. See if anyone's talking on the thing. So see, sometimes it's a little hard to figure out what the straighten point is. $277. I bet I just set this up as SEPTA 277 on the names. Huh? Guess I didn't. Oh, yes I did. Jenkin. This is another really great place. And, you know, God bless Rule 251 with your verse direction dwarfs. And this had a movable point diamond, too. This is a really great thing. Ironically, going up towards Lansdale, Doylestown was considered the straight route, was the diverging route, and the West Trenton was the straight route. No cab signals at this time. Train would get a would go through straight through on clear if you're going to West Trenton. Let's see. Trying to figure out what. Jenkin. Oh, I can just go find again. I can go find what this was called. There's Jenkin, and that would have been the 24L signal. Yeah, these are clearly. I think this feels like it's in sequence with something else, but I don't know. Was Jenkin? No. See, Jenkin was closed even at this time in 1976. So the tower's still there. Yeah, 1965 is when wind came on. So that would be. This is the 24L clear. So tower's there. If you can see the tower, you get a plus. 24L signal clear. Oh no, medium clear. I'll put a plus int in there too. Ba-dunk. Alright. I'm gonna just, let's see what's going on in the old thingy here. Oh, nothing new. Anybody watching? Nope. Anybody who's watching? Just me watching? Just me. Am I the one who's watching? I'm watching. I guess it's just me. Fun. Well, I'll keep talking to myself. I think YouTube saves these. So we're getting close. I'm almost close to wrapping up today. I do 4 sets of whatever. Wait, what? I do 4 sets of 12. It's the last set of 12 for today. And tomorrow, I'm gonna have another stream, and I'm gonna do the second half of this set. I'm gonna send my friend a link to this. Boy, it's so weird. How do I do a link? I don't fucking know. Oh, we got someone else who popped in. Hey, how you doing? I'm just trying to figure out how to link my friend to this. Where's the... How do I freaking link this? Oh, God. Stream now. Don't want to play an ad. Don't want to create a highlight. I just want to freaking link the damn thing. Alright, whatever. I've got people here, I think, so I will go back to doing my photos. Oh, yeah, this is the movable point diamond at Jenkin. God, I'm having to do a lot of violation of my aspect ratio rule today. But it's not my fault, honest. Glunk. Can I rotate this? Should I rotate this? Can I rotate this a little bit? So I go to my source material, and that is the zoom. No, not that kind of zoom. Hand tool, dipshit. Hand tool. 19. Interesting. That's all on one lever. Drop this. This is rather cool. There we go. $12.80 by $12.80. That. Check it. Rule Point Frog northbound. It is in fact reverse, because this is the diverging move. But next. Carmel. Carmel kept its movable point. Man, this is just so neat. You know, everything was just so original and authentic. Back before 2000 and whenever SEPTA ruined itself. 10, maybe? I don't know. Oh, I want to zoom in on that. All right, what can I get? How much of this can I get out? That's a bit better. Guess I'm kind of stuck with it. Oh, I'm not happy with that, but I guess life is... Can I... Is this gonna be better? See, I really want to put the focus on the signal and not have to deal with all this junk. I hate to cut out that catenary support in the back, but that's kind of dumb. Alright, here we go. That's better. Crop, sharpen, look up the interlocking. This is Carmel, and it's the... Oh, so this is where you can... Fun thing. This is GRS signaled, because no more L and R. GRS was on in this, so this is the #1 signal at Carmel. Man, there's all these little pocket tracks and shit all over the place. Damn. Good old medium clear. Fortunately, this did stay much the same. They kept the movable point diamond, the new one. And the new interlocking actually has a bracket and a cantilever. So that's kind of interesting. Kind of fun. Quick crop, and we're out here. I'm just gonna give this a generic name. I'm gonna be northbound because there's way too much and it's half the stuff's cut off. So I'm just gonna give it a quick name there. 390 moving up the Warminster line. Again, for some reason, SEPTA decided to move the interlocking here north of the station, probably having to deal with delay and block rule. Huh, or something. I forget the name of this, so I have to go and look it up. Where did I have the names of these? See, I don't think I think those were installed later, so they aren't going to appear in the 1976 chart. What the hell was that called? I have to go to the map. Go into the map. Go into the map. Go into... Turn off the image toolbar. Grove South and Grove North. Still north of the thing. That's Willow Grove. Yeah, I'm positive that SEPTA put those in. Yep. Okay, so yeah, then that was probably an old ABS mast too. So I'm just gonna zip this zip. I gotta find the original name for this. There's not much I can really add to the original name, so I'm just gonna go by what it's called originally. Grove South. There we go. That's a terrible name. Do I want to zoom that a bit? I could. I'll just leave it alone. What do we got next? Grove North. There we go. Identify that. Oh. So that's a case where I don't know the actual designation, so I just have to call it the northbound mast in relation to the southbound and the northbound dwarf there. Ooh, SEPTA 50. I know that I saved this photo. That's gross, but I must have. Yep, there it is. Oh, I actually did. I did some sort of job trying to straighten it back in the day. SEPTA 50 is the engine they keep re-engineing. It's either that or 51, I forget. But one of them it was an EMD. Then they put a cat engine in it, and that didn't last, of course, because it's you know, not for rail use. And then they sent it out to get re-engined again, and then like something happened, like it was some fly-by-night person, and like it's stuck somewhere non-operative. So, way to go, SEPTA. Oh, and why was 50 there? Because it was towing the it was towing the poor AEM7. Is that AEM7? Yeah, one of the AEM7s. They would fail on a pretty much daily basis. That's the one? Yeah, it's the one. And you would always see 50 or 51 towing them back from wherever they had a problem to the Overbrook maintenance facility. The Frasers where they dealt with them. So in the middle of the day, you'd always see these getting towed back. It probably, like, something would happen. They wouldn't be able to get it going in the morning, and then they'd send out 50 or 51 to tow them. All right, I want to get rid of a little bit of this blue tint if I can. There we go. Next. What? I don't want to call it this one, but this one's perfectly, it's well framed and everything. This should be the one that's towing. What else we got? That's a good photo of that. I don't even need it. It's even pretty level. Huh. What happened to that one? These are still running. The EM7s. I think they're the last EM7s that are still running. So one good thing you can see on SEPTA. I don't know what happened to the market EM7s. They are kinda. I haven't heard that they've been retired, but I don't know what. They're never around. I don't know what happened to them. I hear a whole bunch of different stories, but nothing. Different authoritative people will tell different stories, because they were being rebuilt and then they like never came back. That's weird. What do I got? Oh, it's the camera car. Yeah, SEPTA, one of the Silverliners, number 266, was used for their SEPTA's catenary inspection car. See, that's the brilliance of, you know, people complain about lack of mass transit funding, but the state of Pennsylvania kept SEPTA on a really tight leash, and they really, I mean, it forced them to actually innovate. It's one of the very rare situations where you'll have a public agency in the U.S. not acting as a make job, you know, because there's a whole mentality, if you don't spend your budget, it gets cut, etc., etc. But SEPTA really had the screws put to it, and they, camera car, top camera, all right. Well, we are done for the day. Oh, no, we got one more. That's right. There he is. So yeah, these are the this when Silverliner 2s were still plentiful. You know, you weren't quite at the point where this was 9 years before they were retired. They were 40. They were 40 years old, and they still another 10 years left in them. Oh man, or 9.5 years maybe. Let me just grab the right name. I'm pretty sure it's this one. Yeah, it's the one. Yep, full resolution. Get most of the stuff that was there. Man, these are great. The manual doors. The Alright, delete these guys. And tomorrow we got camera car, interior bench seat. That was the difference between the first batch of PR1s and the second. They got a bench seat. More Tabor Junction, and some Fern Rock stuff. This is going to be a pain to enable. That's what's showing up tomorrow. Ooh, sports complex. Well, the vet was still there. Oh, that's going to be a fun one. And some other stuff. So, anyway, I'm going to go see who's in the chat right now. Anybody in the chat? Someone says they're watching. You there? Write you a little note. Thanks for watching. That post? Hello? What's going on? There it goes. I need to figure out how... I have no idea how to freaking link my stream. This is weird. Ah, well. Alright, I'm gonna probably head out. This is so... How do I not know my stream? Okay, I'll find that later. Alright, I'll see you all everywhere. I'm gonna shut this down and I'll be back on tomorrow. In fact, I should be streaming every day this week. I'm in my house in New Jersey where I've got the better internet and I can do this. So, alright. Thank you so much for watching. Laters.